Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
William Foreman Abernathy, John Ernest Anderson, John Lewis Anderson, Dennis Lloyd Antoine, Edward Garland Ashe Jr., Frank Lewis Asher, James Francis Bean, David Loyal Berry, Edward Raymond Braun, Richard Bright, Russell E. Butler, Larry Dennis Callahan, Charles L. Callahan III, John Joseph Campa, Willie B. Carey, Jose Castillo, Norman Joseph Chaveri, Jesus Ernest Chavez Jr., Richard Stephen Clare, Thomas Osborne Clark, Richard Freeman Coleman, Jimmy Concepcion Chapman, Larry Dean Cook, O.C. Daniel Cooley, James Michael Cox, Archie Glenn Culver, Roosevelt C. Curley Jr., Richard Allen Cutler, John Powers Davis, Lawrence Michael Dawson, Edward Michael Dennell, Stephen Keith Dibb, Paul Lewis Domke, Timothy Patrick Doran, John Peter Drake, Arthur M. Driggers Jr., Martin Wayne Drogic, William M. Duncan, David John Eckenrode, Yule Dean Irwin, Sam Joseph Favada, Donald Fred Fee, Stanley Furbas, Michael Blake Finn, Sherman E. Flanagan Jr., Arthur Marino Flores, Roberto C. Flores, William Henry Foster, George Foster, Douglas Robert French, John T. Fudge, William Franklin Gaines, Thomas Francis Gagnon, James Nathaniel Gay, James Xavier Gilch, Richard Denzel Gill Jr., David Lawrence Glower, Frederick David Green, George Allen Grinnell, Theodore Granowski Jr., McDonald Brooke Halsey, David Kenneth Hamilton, Edward Samuel Hamilton, Dennis Leroy Harmon,
John Carlos Harris, Samuel Gary Harris, Robert Bradford Hayes, Douglas Wayne Hill, Leo Edward Hinterlong, James Edward Huckabee, Peter Paul Huck, Charlie Edward Jenkins, Robert Ernest Johnson, David Earl Johnson, Walter Joseph Keksock Jr., James Robert Kalsu, Brian Stewart Krill, Brent Robin Law, Frank Daniel Leal, Joe Lewis, Mark Thomas Linderman, William David Lounsbury, Robert Michael Lurie, John Thomas Lynn, Pedro Martinez, Francis Edward Mown, Gary Alfred McLennan, Solomon Leon McMillian, Richard Dale McNabb, Donald Woodward McNamara, Richard Francis McNichols, Clifford Dean Melton, William Clarence Moore, Harold Eugene Morrow, Henry Maka Jr., Stephen James Mullett, William Edward Murph, Charles Lewis Myers Jr., Boyd Keith Newbold, Harold Richard Nielsen, Jimmy Lane Norsworthy, Albert Alea Outwater Jr., Raymond Joseph Palandro, Roger Rogelio Pangan, Robert Warren Parent, Richard James Parnell, Richard Max Pearl, William Alfred Pollard, Robert Edward Pulliam Jr., Leroy Carl Radke Jr., Eugene Raymond Ripple, John Wilson Rivers, Billy Jean Rogers, Carl Edward Ryder, Wilberto Cabrera Sanchez, Lloyd Howard Sanders, Anselmo Santiago Arroyo, Ronald James Schultz, Richard James Schutz, Johnny Fred Scott, Gareth Mackenzie Silver, Ponder Ray Sims, Luis Alonso Sotella, John Michael Soka Jr., Robert Dale Staggs, Gary Wayne Stern, Leonard Keith Stewart, Mark Ernest Stoltenberg,
Robert Douglas Stone, Richard Furlong Sutter, Wayne John Silva, Robert Wayne Thomas, Rainford Tiffin, Stephen Allen Trent, John Devon Tyler, Larry Van Cliff, Patrick John Vasquez, Merlin Howard Vroman, Barton Scott Wade, Marvin Leroy Wagner, Dennis James Wall, Lanny John Wallace, Duncan Albert Warwick, Scott Francis Wimette, Jean Arcaro White, James Lamar Whitfield, Ronald Frederick Wilder, Ralph John Willard, Edward Arley Willing, Reginald Eugene Wilson, Robert Wayne Wood, Alton Kenneth Wolfe, Jr., Donald Rene Workman, Philip Gerald Wright.